Welcome to One Word a Day. I'm Sophie, your pilot into the universe of China. Let's finish the rest of the poem. 不识庐山真面目. You cannot recognize the true look or the true face of Lushan. I translate as a hot mountain, but Lushan is a famous mountain, very scenic. And this poet basically is using Lushan as the example of how you view the world, such a big, complex object of view. And here he acknowledged that you don't see the full view of the Lushan because 只缘身在此山中. It's only because your body, your viewpoint, your vantage point is within this mountain. So just like the blind man and the elephant, nobody can tell the full picture of the elephant because everybody is only touching one part of the elephant. And blind because no visual check, meaning we are limited to what we senses by our hands, a small area of data collection, right? Not the full picture. And here basically is talking about the same idea that if your body is within this mountain, you're part of that picture, so to speak. How can you tell the full picture? Because they're in it. So that means to see something in full or to truly realize the full view of 真面目, the true face and eyes of something, you have to take yourself out of it. You have to be kind of an outsider to something to really see what that thing is. Truth, right? Okay, that's why it's my favorite poem. Okay. 不识庐山真面目. One by one. We talked about it yesterday. It's about top horizontal line of the sky, right? And then we have a pointer, kind of a needle-looking thing, pointing downward. Means the external world, the sky, represent nature, the divinity, or external force beyond us, are trying to force us. So we're kind of trying to have this downward pointing power. And then this arch thing is resistant to that. We're not going to be pinned down just like that. So 不 negation came from this resisting of this external force. Okay, 识, we have the speaking sign on the left, and then we have a speaking sign again with one horizontal line. You see, same characters except extra line there. So both of them related to speaking. We have the mouse symbol at the bottom, and then we have the same, like a pointing down image, right? Except instead of arching upward, we're arching downward. And that together makes the tongue symbol. So we have the mouse symbol, we have the tongue symbol. Tongue means this pointer thing means entering into a space. And then we have this downward pointing arch that is confirming that's within the thing that you enter. So when it's connected to the mouse, it's like drawing attention to the mouse. The thing inside the mouse is the tongue. And then two horizontal lines could be, I view it as the sun bites, travels through time and space. So it's going to diminish the energy. It's going to diminish. So the whole thing talks about speaking, the function of speaking. And speaking plus one horizontal line means sweet speaking. I have a whole episode talk about this character. It's one key concept in Chinese. We define music by sweet speaking. So sweet speaking basically is a singing. And we extend this vocal music to any kind of instrumental and vocal. So music is in the middle, actually. So we have speaking, music, and this weaponry symbol. Okay, the three of them paired together make the concept of realize. How to understand that? Okay, my best effort. Okay, you may have different interpretation. Music plus the weaponry symbol is, okay, I interpret it as a war music. Okay, who bothered to play music during wartime? Isn't that a life-death situation? But it turned out probably in a military, I don't know, probably between the tribal wars or later between the empire, the conquerors go to different places. The music, we can view it as either the drums or the trumpet. That I'm pretty sure is throughout history there are other types of music making because music has this energy to individual to break the barrier of our humanity, um, this barrier to killing it. Well, arguably for the majority of us, it's not a natural thing to do. So to overcome the barrier to kill, this music probably instill in us when we hear music, it can probably make us braver or even colder to be a killing machine on the battlefield. So that's my theory. The music during wartime, that's the right side. And then the left side is speaking. So music wartime probably is part of the recognition of the trend. Okay, because battlefield probably is one symbol of the complex dynamic situation. And you should really tune in to hear the music of the war, to tell the trend, the direction, and what real-time action you need to in response to the war, right? And this dynamic understanding of the situation paired of speaking means output. So if music war is input and then speaking is output, means you recognize, you catch the signals from complex, big scale, dynamic situation, and then you're able to verbalize to external what you hear, right? You, human, as a processor of information, you take in that complex signal and, digest, process, and have output. Put out your words, how you understand this situation, complicated situation like a wartime. So that's Chinese definition of realize. It's realizing, it's not easy to realize things. So it's almost like that aha moment. It's difficult, complex situation to really tune into the music of war and to then be able to verbalize what you hear. Okay, so that's recognized. Lu, it's, according to scholars, it's the hut for watching farm field. So apparently, farm field, even before the industrialization age, most people live in villages, right? So it's still a cluster of humans live together. But farm fields are far out there. And probably in the farming seasons, there are critical moments you need monitoring how the farm field do, right? So such hut was built for that purpose of watching the production side, so to speak, in the industrialized age production, but it's food production, right? Critical in the past because it's food production probably was even more so for survival back then. So this top left corner with a chimney is a half opening. So it's not a fully enclosed human shelter, it's half open shelter. And then we have this lu, which is about cooking. We have the farm field symbol in the middle, tiger symbol on the top, and then we have the cooking gear at the bottom, cooking or actually eating utensil at the bottom. So the bottom view looks like a tall glass, and then you have two hand holder kind of looking like that, right? So you're holding onto an eating utensil, drink or food, solid food, and then the middle is farm field is a piece of land quartered, lotted into a household, farm field, and then you have the pointer on the top means coming from that farm field. So it's food source coming from the farm field, and the result coming onto your table, become part of your dining food source, and then to produce energy as if it's tiger. Like, so tiger is the abstraction of tiger. This I view it as the jaws of tiger, and these are the legs of the tiger, the hind legs of the tiger, and then this is a tail abstraction of tiger. So the whole thing means cooking. Cooking's function is to convert what's from nature, the farm field, not exactly nature. What's from the farm, put it on the table and give you energy as if it's tigering, energize you as a tiger. Okay, so this farm field cooking image paired with this chamois enclosured shelter is this farm field watcher hut. Okay, mountain, 3 peaks means multiple of peaks connected together. That's mountain range, and that's how Chinese abstract mountain. Real, okay, this truth-seeking concept is very interesting. We have the eyeball in the middle because to understand something almost like intuitively, for us to understand something, vision is the first thing to use, right? To check on something. The bottom left corner is a ground truth. So I have eyeballs, ground truth. And over here, it looks like a person flipped, or person symbol flipped. But in other versions, like in the simplified Chinese version, it's number 10. My interpretation is 10 pairs of eyeballs looking at the ground truth to kind of get rid of the shadows or blind spots, because each pair of eyeballs, like each one of us, have our biases built in. I mean, regardless of how truthful seeking we sought to be, we're going to have blind spots. So Chinese solution to that is 10 pairs as a definition of multiple people from multiple backgrounds, right? They have different vantage points, and they're looking at the ground truth. That's a way to discover truth, because then everybody going to check from all the angles. And then we have 2 dangling feet, means practicing, doing what you are seeing. So that whole thing depicts a Chinese understanding what is truth, how you discover truth. True or real 面目. 面, we have the nose bridge here. This thing is nose bridge. And then 2 verticalized nostrils, like that. Okay. And then we have this circle. So it's like draw the outline of the face. So it's this, edge or border of the head. And then second round is to emphasize, to give you the signal of this is what we're talking about, even if the whole picture gave you the whole head. And then we draw the second round to tell you this is the surface we're talking about, not the center or the inside. So face, this concept was created as the surface, the edge, the borderline between, of your head. Okay. 面目. Okay. 目. You can see here, it looks like an eyeball, right? Eventually, eyeball got verticalized just like that. And I have the opportunity to show you both the abstract eyeball, like today's eyeball looks like this, even more boxier. But originally, it came from this physical rendering of eyeballs. 面目 in Chinese, face and eye. Okay. We all, well, at least in Chinese, we have such saying, to look into somebody's soul, you have to look at the eye. So as if this is a window to the soul, right? So eye is critical to understand the true intention of that person. And the 面 is this surface, right? And you have the surface, and you have this entry point. Together, Chinese use 面目 to show you, I guess, the concept of 面目 to show you the true character of somebody. So both the surface, the face, and also the core, the soul, right? Both the exterior look and the interior through the eye that you're supposed to see. So 面目is almost like 真面目, especially, is you discover the true character or truth or true intention about something, not stop at the faith level, but really look into the eye. Okay, 不识庐山真面目. You cannot see the true face or the soul. Like you cannot really truly understand what Lu Shan, this hot mountain. It sounds humble, but it's really beautiful mountain range. You cannot recognize or realize the true heart and soul and the face of that mountain range because only due to your body is at this mountain middle. 在此山中 means in the middle of this mountain. So 在中 is a Chinese expression. It's split out this at and the middle. In English would be translated only because you are situated in the middle of this mountain. That would be the right order, but Chinese split it. 在此山中, you are at this mountain middle, like in the middle of the mountain. Okay. 指, we have this box shape, means speaking. And then we have two downward pointing things according to the scholars, and I couldn't come up with better theories, is the air you utter, you project it, right? When you're speaking, pointing downward. So it's kind of emphasize. You're emphasizing the next part you're going to talk about. So 只缘, eventually we translate that as only because, but what's the purpose of only? Not only is a logical thing, it's most of the complicated things in the world are multivariable function, right? Multiple things leads to one thing or multiple results, right? It's multi to multi complicated. But when we want to emphasize that we pick out probably the strongest signal of all the variables, make it into X to Y conversion, that easy, we would use 只, means emphasizing this one. And it may or may not be true that it's only because of something, right? So in this example, you're observing this beautiful mountain range, and you cannot recognize its true heart and soul because you're in the mountain is one possibility. But here is emphasizing that's the biggest reason because you're in it. Okay, so this 只 translate as only due to, it's about emphasizing. Okay, yuan, we have the fabric icon on the left, which came from this root, or you can view it as a drapey fabric on the bottom. And then we have two spruce thread connected. So the left side means something related to fabric. The right side is pronounced as tuan, and it's not used on itself anymore in the language. It was collected as one of the, okay, so Chinese, as well as any other culture, right? Humans try to explain the world. It's been a constant throughout history. We try to come up with stories, folklores, legends, mythologies, religions even, to weave the world's happenings together to make it as cohesive as possible. Because we cannot probably bear to live in the middle of events and feeling so out of touch with what's happening, right? So this one character was used as one of those model building ancient theories from China, and that's Taoism, that use that as almost, you can view this character as an explainer. Explainer functions that the model builder, right, have a whole kinds of like a code thing that you put in some certain code. There are some randomness, as like you have a lottery, a draw, shaking the chopstick down or whatever they do, the whole ceremony, that people try to take out the message as if it's from the divine, right? The divine, because randomness connected with divinity, out of your control. You cannot decide. Somebody else decided for you. And this tuan was such decoding process of trying to connect the dots for you, to try to explain life to you as whatever happened, to your life. So this plus the fabric symbol together become our yuan, become our almost like a destiny or explainer, explaining the thing. Originally, the character means the border embroidery of the clothing and the edges, the hems of fabric. If you look at the Chinese ancient, back then the plain look was not popular. Things got trimmed, got embroidered, got decorated, especially for highly hierarchical society, right? So those surface level of personal adornment serves as a signal to the social status of that person. So things like embroidery on the hem of your clothing was a thing, right? Was commonly used back then. So this was originally depicting that. But we know the right side is the explainer in Taoism, and the left side is thread. So thread, you can view that as a symbol of continuation of your life. Like one thing leads to another. Everything is connected on threads, right? Threads and explainer together becomes this dot connecting efforts to try to explain your life. So that's due to, like, try to find the reasons behind it, right? Only due to your body. So body simply is physical representation of the anatomy, the skeletal structure of humans. And the most distinctive is this is the rib cage, 2 legs. I'm not sure about the tail thing, but this is how abstract Chinese abstract the human body, how that looks. And we emphasize body here, only the physical structure or particular skeletal structure of human body. And because your body, we're emphasizing because we're encaged in our body, right? So if our body in here, we cannot be possibly normally anywhere else, right? So here is emphasizing because your body is here. So your eyeball have to be in that body to look at the mountain from this particular angle. And regardless of where you are, as long as you're in the middle of it, you cannot see the true full picture of it. Okay, 在 is expressed by almost the same thing, 2 horizontal lines plus 1 vertical line. The difference is here, it doesn't puncture through. So I've talked about this character before. It's a common concept. It's a little bit abstract. Okay, what I put it as the first horizontal line for both are the ground level. So that's kind of reality reflecting thing. Horizontal means ground. Vertical means something growing in the ground. Both are the same. Now, the difference is on the second horizontal line. It's an abstraction. It's not reality. It's humans' linguistic effort to abstract things, to symbolize, to draw your attention, okay, to, on the left side, it's intersecting with the root, to draw your attention to the root, meaning the potential of these things, meaning the root, the genes of this plant. So it's internal, what internal inherited of this bio thing, the plant. Okay. The second horizontal line at the very tip of the root means the surrounding of the root. So my interpretation is the left side punctuating through the second horizontal line. That is the internal talent or gene code of the thing, and second is the surrounding. So you have both internal, external conditions. When you meet both conditions, then you can exist. So 在 in Chinese means being, means existing, and existence is conditional. You have to have both internal and external conditions met for the thing to exist. That's the Chinese quite, thoughtful understanding of what it means to be present. In English, we only say 在 at becomes this small word, but if you think deep, it means it exists in there. Okay, and this is right food Did I explain that in here? No, it's in the previous episode. Okay, so this is the right foot, cactus looking thing, the big toe, pinky toe, rest of the toes. And this is the sole. This is our foot. Foot symbol by itself means stop, means not moving. And then we have a human figure reversed. So this is the default leftward facing human figure. When we have it right facing, it becomes that person is swiveling over to do a 180-degree change. So both icons means you stop here and you change your direction. You pivot around, meaning you stop right there. That's your destination, and that's where you're pointing to, and that becomes our pointer word. This means here is where we stop. This is the destiny, what we're talking about. Mountain, again, not repeating it. Middle is this mouse symbol, and then we have a vertical line cutting through this, kind of like doing this, just like this, right? This is our middle. As abstract or as concrete as the mouth, we have one horizontal line doing that, meaning right exactly set in the middle of something. So the philosophy behind that is you have different vantage points. And regardless of how you position yourself, on top, below, top, down, far, near, or you're looking from the front or from the side, you're going to have different views. But which is the true view? The conclusion here is you cannot see the true view or the true face, surface, or eye representing the soul, the essence of something. You cannot see it in full or complete or the true aspect of it because you're part of it. And that's a reminder. Well, I forget to change that, but that's a reminder to all of us to say that we need to detach ourselves for something if we truly want to understand something. We need to take ourselves out. And this is a visual reminder of if as long as we step in that mountain, we cannot see the full view of that mountain. We're only going to see a partial view or the view of that moment, that time and space in that particular moment. We're going to see a partial truth. So the solution to that is to be an outsider. Okay, so the conclusion of the poem is, I guess, instead of the vantage point, is to seek an outsider view of things for you to truly understand something. Right? I hope you take that, and I try to live my life with that and keep remind of my own limitations of me in the middle of something. And I have to take myself out of that thing to see the true nature of the thing. All right. Thank you for your time. See you another day.